What is up, guys, and welcome to the finale episode of Season 1 of F1 2018 Career Mode. This is the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Coming into this episode, we have a two-way tie at the top of the leaderboards between Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton sitting in third, only 1 point behind him as well. So it's all to play for in this final race of the season. In terms of the rest of the AI, they're out of reach. So it's only a 3-horse race in this one. And it's going to be a winner-takes-all. So here we are for qualifying, jumping straight into it. I will say I was struggling a little bit for an early pace around this circuit. I was toing and froing with the setup a little bit, but I decided to go with like 3/6 wings and 9 ballast. Seems like a fairly solid setup at the moment. We didn't pass the qualifying pace practice program, which is something we do sometimes when we're not on the pace, and unfortunately that was an occasion once again where it's struck us here in Abu Dhabi. So it looks like pace probably won't naturally come to us here in this Grand Prix, but we're going to work at it. It doesn't really matter anyway because our position in the championship is secure, not only in the drivers but the constructors as well. So this is really a bit of an exhibition race for me. Just trying to finish off the season strong, get some resource points, and just really build some momentum into next season. But here we are in our qualifying one lap. You can see we're currently up by 7/10 as we go through to the final couple of corners. We're sitting in P19 at the moment, so not the greatest position to be in, but hopefully this can throw us all the way to the top of the order, and it does. P12, which is currently safe at the moment, but as we went to return to the pits and end the session, we got demoted all the way back down to P17. So that was that for qualifying, unfortunately. Charles doing a good job. We were 1 second away from him, which, you know, you wouldn't think it would knock you out in Q1, but just the closeness of the midfield this season has meant that we miss out. Williams have made, like, huge upgrades heading into this final race of the season as well, which is really puzzling. So, yeah, a lot of the lower guys are faster than what they were in the rounds previous, so it's made life a little bit more difficult for us. But as you can see there, that was a really quick look at the drivers and constructors standings. Like I said, we're completely safe going forward, but we want to finish off the season strong. So let's go to the final race of F1 2018 Career Mode Season 1. Who is going to be champion?
So here we are, ready to go racing for one final time this year. Another season of victories, controversies and rivalries lies in our wake. And just one challenge remains here in the United Arab Emirates on a circuit that made its spectacular debut back in 2009. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk briefly about Kimi Räikkönen. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The fence starts from pole position, and Kimi Räikkönen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hülkenberg, Sainz, Max Verstappen, and Magnussen, Grosjean, Gasly, Perez, and Charles Leclerc. Alonso, they've taken a grid penalty. Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo, Mr. Monaco, Stroll, Hamilton, Brendan Hartley, and Sergei Sorokin. Van Dorn and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Welcome, guys, to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. What an insane starting grid we have for this race. All three championship contenders are outside the points, and it's a winner-take-all for all of those guys. So this race is truly going to be a spectacle. Watching the three championship protagonists come through the pack to see who comes out on top. 5 red lights, and away we go for this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. A little bit of wheel spin off the start, but looking behind us, Hamilton coming out of nowhere and making it almost 3 wide as we head into turn 1. That was Ricciardo alongside me as well, so I don't know if Hamilton managed to get past Ricciardo. No, he didn't as we look behind. That is P12 off the start with Ricciardo following me through behind me. So we have Ricciardo, then Hamilton, and Vettel, who started off the back row of the grid and last. So Vettel's got it all to do. He, of course, is tied for points with Daniel Ricciardo. Lewis Hamilton needs to outscore both of these guys in order to have any chance. So if it comes down to a draw, I honestly don't know how this is going to shape up. Like if Lewis Hamilton gets 10th and the other guys are outside the points, we have a Lightning McQueen Cars Piston Cup ending. We have a 3-way tie. Could you imagine? But given the performance of those 3 cars, I don't imagine that is going to be the case. There goes Ricciardo already in a P11. It's worth noting that I'm not going to have any bias towards any of these guys, even though I would like to see Daniel Ricciardo win it, being an Australian, and the fact that, you know, Red Bull and Ricciardo, they don't win all too much in the F1 game, so we'll see how it goes. Yellow flag for cars behind us. I think someone has retired and pulled off to the side. Looks like it is his Force India of Esteban Ocon. Oh my goodness! He's taken out the championship leader and one of the Williams as well for good company. Vettel is out of the Grand Prix and his championship has come to an end.
I'm out! Crash!
Unbelievable scenes. In this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel is out on only lap 4. I thought the Force India was having a problem, like they were pulling off to retire. I think they just locked up. They just locked up and they tried to rejoin on the circuit, but Vettel was right there on the racing line, and that was it. He's out of the Grand Prix. That's simulation damage for you. We now have a 2-horse race now for the championship, and guess what? They're both P11 and P12. So it's 100% a showdown between these two guys to see who can get through the field the best. I think, to be honest, my money's on Lewis Hamilton. Even though he's behind by 1 point, that Mercedes straight line speed OP is really going to come in clutch in overtaking some of these AI cars. So, Ricciardo, he's got it all to do in this Grand Prix. And how are they going to play themselves through the traffic? Look at this absolutely huge train that has formed now on the back of, I think it's Carlos Sainz leading the train, and he's in like P5, P6. So this is going to be absolutely fascinating. I think strategy as well is probably going to come into this. Who is willing to dive in the earliest to get the undercut? There's a bit more squabbling. That's Ricciardo getting around the outside of one of the Force Indias there, and he's trying to move on my teammate as well. Around the outside into the triple chicane. Still has the outside as he heads into the 3rd sector now. But he's done all that hard work. He now has the easy part of going up the inside into the castle, not the castle section, the hotel section. And that is a move well inside the top 10 now for Daniel Ricciardo. Hamilton really in the wars there, coming together with Sergio Perez. I don't know if he got some front wing damage there, but there was certainly contact at the exit of turn 1 there. And that could potentially harm his race. Has he still got his front wing? I'm not sure. There is a big gap to Ricciardo, so that is definitely going to be one to watch. But it's pit stop time. Hamilton and Ricciardo responding at the exact same time. So it's Red Bull versus Mercedes here. There is no front wing change for Hamilton, so he's fine. And he rejoins behind Daniel Ricciardo, as you would expect. I think there was a good 2-second gap there between both Ricciardo and Hamilton. They're both electing for the Hypersoft, so exact same strategy. Again, another stop to be made for both of those guys, and once again, it's a showdown to see who can get back through the field. But now that the pit stops have shaken out, the traffic is going to be less of a problem for those guys, and they can have more of a 1v1 battle in getting through the field, which is absolutely fascinating. I should have like a camera just like set up for both of those guys, following them the entirety of the race, but I was very, very limited with the time that I had to record this career mode video. I'll explain why at the end of the video, but unfortunately I just didn't have the time to do that. Otherwise you would not see this video for a good week otherwise. But anyway, here we go for lap 10. This is Raikkonen coming out of the pits on his fresh tyres, trying to overtake us. I'd already conceded the position there, to be honest, and then Raikkonen just kind of backed out of it. And that was it. So we got the place back, which is pretty frustrating. I just want to get on with my race here. But Raikkonen being a little bit indecisive, trying to play it safe to secure this win. He gets the move done now, but he's parking it on the apex. He's had so much pace in this Grand Prix, but now that he gets in front of us, he forgets how to drive, which is pretty frustrating. And now we've got Valtteri Bottas challenging for P2. Trying to make a move as well. I'm not going to make this too difficult because I kind of want to let him go, and so I can get on with my race and not have to squabble, because that squabbling that I was just doing was absolutely killing my progress and allowing my teammate to run away with it. But meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton has the lead effectively in the championship. He is now in front of Daniel Ricciardo. I unfortunately didn't capture that on camera, but he's now overtaken him and now will lead the championship by 1 point. 1 point as things stand at the moment. Ricciardo I hope you have a response. Because otherwise, that's your championship done. Oh my goodness. We're getting ready for our pit stop now. We've taken these Ultras a long way into this Grand Prix. Halfway into the race, I missed my pit window by 1 lap. And then when I called to go into the pits, that's when Charles pitted. I had to wait another lap. And we're kind of losing a bit of time here. Battling away with Hulkenberg and running around on older tyres. Here's Hamilton coming out of the pits. He's already caught up to us. He's a pit stop ahead of us in this Grand Prix, but it's worth noting that he needs to make another stop. I need to make another stop. So we could be indirectly in this championship fight. We could have some influence over it yet. But onto the super soft tyres. We're going to take these to the end of the Grand Prix. There's going to be no issues with tyre wear now. These will easily make it to the end. So push now, use up all the fuel, use up all the battery, and see what we can do for the remaining laps. I think a lot of the upper midfield runners are now pitting, including Ricciardo and Hamilton, responding blow for blow, it seems, doing the exact same strategy. But this time it looks like Ricciardo was a long way behind Hamilton. Hamilton's in front of me, and Ricciardo was only just coming out of the pit lane there. So there's a good 6 or 7 second gap between the two of them. And Hamilton crucially has cars between himself and Ricciardo now. So it's ascendancy Hamilton at the moment. 3 wide into turn 1. He gets a double overtake done there. That was Pierre Gasly spinning off the inside of Van Dorn there. And gives us a free position. We're now going to overtake Van Dorn. I don't know if these guys need to make another stop or not. But we get the move done anyway. Really late under brakes. And that is P8 for the taking.
We're trailing our teammate by 16.3 seconds.
Wow, he really is smashing us in this Grand Prix. He might be on target for a top 5, I'm not too sure. But either way, he's going to finish off the season really strong. We just haven't been able to match him for pace today. Lewis Hamilton setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, further confirming his ascendancy in this Grand Prix. 8 laps to go, and Ricciardo is only now overtaking me. So he's got a really tough task to try and topple Hamilton now for the championship. The gap is, for the most part, looking like it's about 10 seconds. And to be honest, unless there's a safety car, I don't see any return for Ricciardo, unfortunately. Unless there's something very dramatic that happens to Lewis Hamilton, unfortunately. But team radio from Jeff.
Some information on Leclerc. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
No. Let's have a look. He looks like he's going all right at the moment. He's slowing down now. Is it failure-wise? Oh, it's a puncture on the front right. What a shame. He was lapping so well, and I believe he was in front of Lewis Hamilton as well. Both the championship protagonists, and now he's not even going to get points. That is so unfortunate for Charles. A bit of a summary of his season. He's been so up and down all season, and that trend continues once again. He needs that consistency going forward in the season too if we're going to be mounting a potential challenge for the championship. But meanwhile, we got in front of Brendan Hartley. He has a bit of a counter-attacking move at us, but he couldn't quite get the move done. He then gets overtaken by Sainz. And then for the rest of the Grand Prix, it was very breezy for us. I think Sainz was having some fuel issues and really had to conserve for the final couple of laps. But there you can see the gaps between Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo. He's now got Grosjean in between. So 100% it's secure now. Charles Leclerc sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, further confirming his pace that he had today. He's now like a lap or 2 down. It took him so long to get back to the pit lane that it just completely ruined his race. But Max Verstappen wins the Grand Prix for Red Bull. Those guys on the other side of the garage would have been wishing it was their Australian driver standing on the top step. But here we go through the final corner. That is the end of Season 1. And what a brilliant season it was.
We've had a very strong season this year. Very strong indeed. Well done. And thank you on behalf of the team for a fantastic effort.
There were questions at the start of the season as to whether this package could really go all the way. But there's no question anymore. What a special year it's been. And here they are now, the new Formula 1 World Drivers' Champion. So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly well-deserved win. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
So there it is. Lewis Hamilton is your Season 1 champion, and with that, he becomes a 5-time world champion in Formula 1. It was a very interesting season, championship-wise. There was so much toing and froing between Red Bull, between Ferrari at some points, and even Mercedes. Red Bull had the fastest car, but they were so unreliable, had so many issues. Mercedes had a bit more of a conservative approach, and just managed to pull the rug out from everyone at the end there. Awesome job. Awesome stuff. But there we go. That's our season. P7 and P8 in the drivers. Constructors-wise, I think it's P4. It is. Best of the rest. And honestly, I'm very, very proud of how far we've come in just one short season. Even half a season, we got to a pretty commanding position in the championship, and then the regulation changes really kind of put a halt to things. But hopefully going forward into Season 2, we can have a really big spike towards some of the top teams in Formula 1. So here's a breakdown of all of our resource points. We're going to get a 500 bonus for achieving the team goal, as well as our end of season bonus, which puts us at just 2,500 resource points. Damn. We're going to have a bit of a frenzy, but it's time to talk contracts.
Nice job this season. You've been performing well, and that's putting us in a strong negotiating position contract-wise. Plus, my 10%'s getting more valuable. So enjoy your break, and keep up the good work next year. Great work. That's exactly the kind of result I'm looking for. Keep it up.
Thanks, Emma. It's time to negotiate that contract. At this point, we can decide to go to another team, but you guys know the story of this career mode. We're here to build Sauber up from the bottom and make them a championship winning team again. So we're going to stick with the team for the foreseeable future. So we're going to renegotiate our contract. I think we can be a little bit more aggressive with how much we deliver or promise to deliver, and as such we're going to up the ante in terms of resource points bonus, in terms of upgrade speed. I'm going to go for level 3 on simultaneous development and upgrade speed if I can. Like I said, throughout the entirety of this career mode, I don't really care all too much about pit stop efficiency, so that can be nothing if it means that we get some other perks that'll help us long term. But here you can see we're just playing around with things, seeing what we can get away with. I think we're going to push for the maximum on the first attempt. Unfortunately, we got knocked back twice, and so I had to dial down the pit stop efficiency down to level 1, I believe, and up my qualifying expected position to P9. And that was good enough for the team. So that is the proposed contract for Season 2. First driver once again. A lot of promises and expectations to be met. But with the performance of our car only going upwards, I'd imagine we won't be disappointing the team all too much. In terms of the upgrades, we managed to consolidate every single upgrade we made in Season 1 to adapt to the 2019 regulations, which was a huge relief. We had 2 whole departments to get through where the majority of our upgrades came from, and like I said, it really put an end to our upgrade development at the end of the second half of Season 1 there. So going forward, we're going to go ham and try and make up the deficit once again. But guys, that's been this episode for today. If you enjoyed this season, make sure you smash a like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2018 content. Season 2, there's going to be a little bit of a hiatus because today, like literally in 1 hour, I'm going to get my wisdom teeth taken out. So I don't know how long I'm going to be MIA from the channel. I'd imagine there's probably a little bit of recovery time due to that. So I have videos pre-made. I'm making this on the Monday. I'm hoping to be back into the flow of things by the end of the week. So there's still videos going out, but there might be a little bit of a break after like Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how well I recover. But follow me on Twitter. I'll let you guys know how everything's going with that. And hopefully I can be back once again very quickly. In terms of upgrades going forward for Season 2, I wasn't sure what to do because I wanted to upgrade the aero and the chassis, something we haven't worked on in a very long time. But I was a bit worried that if I spend like 2,000 resource points on that right now, will it still get taken away because I haven't made adaptations for next season? So I was a bit confused. And given how much of a rush I was in, I couldn't really ask Twitter. I couldn't really do anything. So I've delegated my upgrades elsewhere. So to the power unit, and we're also going to do some reliability stuff, and that should hopefully help us next season. We probably won't need to worry about anything in regards to reliability. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Until the start of Season 2, I'll see you guys next time.